Hey there! Let's talk about the forces that shape our planet.
Do you guys ever wondered how mountains rise? How rivers carve valleys? And how do other landscapes form?
Because today, we'll be talking about two major processes that transform the Earth's surface, the exogenic and endogenic processes.
First up, the exogenic processes. These forces occur within the Earth's surface. Think about weathering and erosion. But what's the difference between them?
Weathering is the breakdown of rocks into tiny particles by physical and mechanical processes. Erosion is the process of moving and transferring weathered rocks and sands, usually via wind, water, ice, or gravity.
There are three subtypes of weathering. The first one is mechanical weathering, also known as physical weathering. Mechanical weathering is the process of breaking down rocks into smaller pieces without changing their chemical composition.
There are four examples of mechanical weathering: frost wedging, salt crystal growth, abrasion, and biological activity.
Frost wedging occurs when water penetrates cracks in rocks. It freezes and expands when the temperature drops. Salt crystal growth occurs when salt crystals form and expand within the pores and fissures of rocks, causing their collapse.
Abrasion occurs when rocks and particles are carried away by wind, water, or ice erode other rocks through friction and collision. And lastly, the biological activity. Plant roots can grow into fractures in rocks, causing the cracks to enlarge and eventually tear the rock apart.
In addition, we have exfoliation and thermal expansion. Exfoliation occurs when rocks are exposed to the surface and the pressure they were under when buried is decreasing. Lastly, the thermal expansion. Thermal expansion occurs when rocks are repeatedly heated and cooled.
The second one in the three subtypes of weathering is called chemical weathering. Chemical weathering is the process that breaks down rocks and minerals through chemical reaction.
There are three types of chemical weathering: hydrolysis, oxidation, and dissolution.
Hydrolysis occurs when minerals react with water, resulting in a new formation of minerals and the breakdown of the rocks.
Oxidation is the interaction of minerals with oxygen, which can produce new, less hard minerals. And lastly, the dissolution. Some minerals dissolve directly in water, especially when it contains acids like carbonaric and sulfuric acid, then leaves cavities in its formation.
And the last subtype of weathering is biological weathering. It refers to the breakdown of rocks and animals by living organisms such as plants, animals, bacteria, fungi, and even us humans.
The last one is the endogenic processes. These forces originate deep within the earth. Now, have you guys wondered how volcanoes form? Or why are we experiencing earthquakes?
To better understand this topic, let us first of all differentiate the parts of the planet Earth.
The first one is the crust. It is the outer layer or the outer skin of the earth.
The second one is the mantle. We have the upper and the lower mantle. It is the less dense layer.
And the last one is the core. Just like the mantle, the core also had a classification of the outer and the inner core.
Outer core has a molten or liquid texture consisting of nickel iron, while inner core is primarily a solid ball.
First, talk about the three internal heat sources of the Earth.
The first one is the primordial heat. It is the internal heat energy accumulated by dissipation in a planet during its first few million years of evolution.
The second one is radioactive decay. This is when certain unstable atoms break down over time and release energy in the form of radiation. A process like this happens with elements like uranium and potassium, and it produces heat that warms the planet from the inside.
Lastly, the gravitational contraction. This happens when a large object like a planet or star pull itself together because of gravity. As it gets smaller, it releases heat.
We have three ways to distribute the heat energy throughout the planet Earth.
Conduction heat is transferred from one object to another.
Convection is the process of heat transfer by the bulk movement of molecules within fluids such as gases and liquids.
Radiation is the transfer of heat by means of electromagnetic waves.
Have you ever wondered how the Earth's surface gets all those hills and valleys?
Definitely. Isn't it all about folding and faulting?
Exactly. Let's start with folding. Imagine layers of rocks like a stack of pancakes. When pressure pushes them together, they bend instead of breaking.
Cool. And what about faulting?
Faulting is when rocks break under stress. It's like if you pushed too hard on that stack of pancakes and they crack.
Got it. Folding bends the rock, while faulting breaks them. Both shapes our planet.
Now let's explore the three types of faults, which are the normal fault, reverse fault, and tear fault.
First, we have normal fault. It is when one rock strata went down. Second is reverse fault. It is just the rising of one rock strata, so basically it is the other way around of normal fault.
Lastly, we have the tear fault. It is when two rock strata slide with each other.
Now, let's proceed to volcanism.
Volcanism happens when magma from beneath the earth rises and erupts as lava, forming volcanoes and new land.
How about metamorphism?
It is when rocks change under extreme heat and pressure, creating metamorphic rocks without melting.
And what about earthquakes?
Earthquakes occur when stress along fault lines is released, sending seismic waves that shakes the ground.
And that's all for the endogenic and exogenic processes. Hope you guys learned something. We'll see you guys in the next bit. Bye!